Deuteronomy chapter 32. Moses is expressing in the Song of Moses, pretty much from chapter 1 all the way, or verses 1 all the way to 14, he's expressing the good times. He's expressing, and actually it's verses 9 through 14, he's expressing Israel's good times when they're actually going to have success. And it says, "For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the place of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in the wasteland, a howling wilderness. He encircled him. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirs up its nest, hovers over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up, carrying them on its wings. So the Lord alone led him, and there was no foreign God with him. He made him ride in the heights of the earth, that he might eat the produce of the fields. He made him draw honey from the rock, and oil from the flinty rock, curds from the cattle, and milk from the flock, with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats, with the choicest wheat, and you drank wine, the blood of the grapes." God is expressing the land of milk and honey that he's led. 3, 2, 1. God is expressing that he's led the people to the promised land, the land of milk and honey. That is what he's going to do. And it holds true. Joshua is going to take a section of Canaan, and they're going to continue to spread. And there's going to be the book of Judges, and there's going to be the book of Samuel, the book of Kings, the book of Chronicles. It's going to highlight that Israel conquers the land. They take the land, and they end up building a temple unto God. And they end up having a whole kingdom, a whole nation dedicated to the Lord. And it all started with Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. And Moses, in this song, he's expressing that God did his part, that he made Abraham the father of many nations. And now the nations are here. The 12 tribes of Judah are there. And they've built a whole kingdom around them. God is putting him in the best possible position to succeed. But in the Song of Moses, before they go conquer the land, the Song of Moses expresses that, hey, there's going to be good times, and then there's going to be not so good times. There's going to be bad times. And in these bad times, there's going to be 6 different things that occur that lead to God being angry. Today, we're going to talk about those particular things that led to the Lord being angry, and we're going to talk about what the Lord did about it and what led to this generation after generation after generation, centuries of the Lord being described as an angry God, as a fire and brimstone God. Because there is something wrong with us, with half of the Christians seeing the Lord as an angry God, half of the Christians seeing the Lord as a loving God that never gets angry. Too angry, not angry enough. Those are the two pendulum swinging polar opposites that Christians struggle with. And if we struggle with, hey, is our God an angry God or a loving God? Is he an Old Testament God? Is he a New Testament God? If we struggle with that, we bring confusion to anybody that we share the gospel with. We bring confusion to those that we are trying to disciple. So we need to clear up 3 different things. And the 3 things that we're going to clear up, it's going to be 3 misunderstandings. 1, God is an angry God. We're going to clear that up. That's a misunderstanding. 2, sinners are the blank ones. We're going to clear up that misunderstanding. And 3, update your faith as it relates to John chapter 3, verse 16. The John 3:16 verse. 3 misunderstandings that we have to clear up. Our situation currently is God is an angry God true or false? That's what we have to figure out. In the world right now, there is 8.1 billion people in the world. How many of the 8.1 billion people are Christians? 2.3 billion people as of 2024 for both numbers. 2.3 billion Christians are in this world and 8.1 billion people total are in this world. So between 2.3 and 8.1, that is approximately 28%. The world has approximately 28% Christians in the world. And let's just say out of the 28% Christians, that 14% of the Christians believe that God is an angry God. 14% of the Christians believe that he is not an angry God, and that he is more gracious than angry, and he's not a punitive God. He is not the God of the Old Testament fire and brimstone, that he's all love, no anger, while others believe that he's all anger with a little bit of love. That is the situation that we're facing. The desire is that all 28%, all 2.3 billion Christians in this world will come to a unanimous consensus of who God is. But we have to dive into the scripture. We have to read it to truly understand it. This is an opportunity for us to be able to update our faith. Deuteronomy chapter 32. So when we're expressing and talking about Moses in that time frame, keep in mind that Israel was in Egypt for approximately 400 years. We're also looking at that Israel, the people of God, since the beginning of time, they have had a rocky relationship with the Lord since the Garden of Eden, since the time frame of Noah, before Noah's ark was built, before the Lord sent the great flood upon the earth and restarted everything with Noah and his family. Once he restarted everything with Noah and his family, he also sent a promise that he would never flood the earth again. He would never do a reboot on creation, because that's what it was. It was a reboot. He was so disappointed, so frustrated, so angry with creation. And he saw that there was no redeeming quality in them, that they were not going to change. If you have your children and they are living in your house and they're not following or living by your rules, in fact, they are killing the other siblings in your house, do you ban them from your house? Or what if you are in a specific moment where you see your child who you love in the act of trying to kill another one of your kids, their own sibling, their own flesh and blood, trying to hurt them, trying to do an unrighteous act, an unlawful act on them, and you have the potential to stop them, the opportunity to stop them? Are you going to stop them with force, with lethal force? They've already killed their other siblings. Given the previous example from before, the 5 siblings. One of the siblings has already killed off their brother. Now they're about to kill their sister. Are you going to use lethal force? How come you didn't use lethal force the first time? These are all very tough things to consider when we're talking about life. We're talking about flesh and blood. God's decision to hold the world accountable and to flood the earth could not have been an easy decision for a creator to destroy what he created and to reboot and start all over. You could tell it wasn't an easy decision because once he made the decision, he made a promise to never do it again in that manner. And now fast forward all the way to the time of Moses, that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that they are all following the path of the Lord, leading to the prophecy that Abraham would be the father of many nations. And now Moses has led Israel out of Egypt, and he's in the desert. Jonathan Edwards was born in the 1700s, and he did his particular sermon in 1741 before George Washington led the 13 colonies to fight against Britain in the American Revolutionary War. This particular sermon, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, was expressed during the time of the First Great Awakening, a spiritual revival that occurred before the Declaration of Independence was signed. The sermon, I'm not saying that this particular sermon is the sermon that established America, but it was definitely a part of a movement that occurred in America before George Washington. George Washington himself was born in 1732, and when this sermon came out, he was actually 9 years old, but he was aware. George Washington grew up in a Christian household. He was an Anglican and an Episcopalian, and his mother took him to church all the time. He grew up in a spiritual environment and later would learn about all the other denominations, and he would include a love for spirituality, for one nation under God, and a love for tolerance of the different denominations. George Washington knew that America was not going to be created, was not going to be established, was not going to win any wars unless they came together. Just like Moses knew and Joshua knew that if the people were not together under God, following his rules, they would not be able to conquer the promised land that was prophesied to them. And that in part was the reason why Moses' generation had to die off in the desert, because they were not going to only live for the Lord. They were going to bring idols. They were going to make golden calves. They were going to constantly go back to the mind frame of Egypt. They were going to go back to the mind frame of lawlessness, or the mind frame of believing that there were other gods other than the only one that saved them. How does God deliver Israel from Egypt? And he displays his powers through all the famine and the pestilence and all the miracle signs and wonders that the Lord did through Moses. They ignored all of that, and when they got to the desert and when Moses was spending time with the Lord and getting the 10 Commandments that were written on the tablets, they, in the meantime, with Aaron, convinced him to create a golden calf. They convinced him to abandon God. How much does it hurt when the Lord is abandoned? How much does it hurt when a parent creates a child and that child abandons the mother, abandons the father, no longer claims them, hurts them? The Lord didn't give Israel 1 strike. God didn't give Israel 2 strikes, or 3 strikes, or 4 strikes, or 5 strikes. The Lord gave Israel 6 strikes, twice as many strikes as what California, the state of California, deems to be necessary. Twice as many chances. California only believes you should be able to give a felon 3 strikes, 3 different chances to change their lives over before you give them the harshest punishment. Because in the American legal system, they say justice is blind and we have to protect the people that can't protect themselves. America, the Constitution, its rules, its government, its foundation comes from the Bible. It comes from Scripture. How the Lord showed Israel exactly how he wanted society to be ran. If it is going to operate on the highest level, the perfect level, the most righteous level, the most justified level, God will show us how to do it. And Moses is telling the Israelites, he's telling them, hey, here is what's going to happen. God is going to give you that promised land. And you're going to do these 6 different things that is going to provoke the Lord to anger. And once the Lord is provoked to anger, after 6 different times leading up to it, the Lord is going to show his wrath. The Lord is going to enforce his judgment on the people of Israel. And the way that he's going to do it is not how you and I would do it. It's a completely different way. Let's show the steps along the way. Chapter 32. So after the good times from verse 9 to verse 14, verse 15. So it says, but Jeshurun, which is Israel, grew fat and kicked. You grew fat. You grew thick. You are obese. Then he, Jeshurun, Israel, forsook God who made him and scornfully esteemed the rock of his salvation. So the first part of this in verse 15 is Israel gets its fill of good living, of good life. And then they get fat, they get obese, they get prideful about it. And then they choose to leave the Lord. Strike one, they left the Lord. And scornfully esteemed the rock of his salvation. Verse 16, they provoked him to jealousy with foreign gods. With abominations, they provoked him to anger. If you are a parent of children and the children don't like you, don't love you anymore, they are abandoning you, they are rebelling against you, and they go to your next door neighbor's house, and then they start loving them and praising them and worshiping them and giving them all the credit for their lives. Hey, you've always been here for me. You're such a great father, my second father. You're such a great mother, my second mother. You've built such a great household, my second household. You've done all these things for me. You are the perfect parents that I've never had. You are a better parent to me than my own parent was that birthed me. But keep in mind that, these parents that they're giving adoration to and love to and all these things, they don't move because they're actually idols. Or there are certain trends in the world, or there are certain substances in the world. There's certain entertainment in the world. That's a modernized version of it. But either way, the kids start idolizing something else, that this is really who I am. This is really This is really the motivation that's guided me. This is my true parent. This is my true creator. What are you talking about? You know where you were born from. There's a birth certificate. There's pictures. There's baby pictures. There's all the money and receipts that were spent on your life, on your upbringing, on your childhood, your adolescence, your young adult years, and now you abandon your family. Israel, you are being raised by the Lord, and now you are abandoning God for neighboring idols, for other cultures around you, because you like their women, because you like their style, because you like their foods, their dances, their music, because you like their world, their evil world. So you leave. You leave the Lord, then you provoke the Lord to anger by claiming them and disclaiming God, that he had no hand and he never gave you one blessing. He never sacrificed for you one time. He never showed you grace, mercy, love. He never protected you. You did it yourself. Then verse 17, they sacrifice to demons, not to God, to gods they did not know, to new gods, new arrivals that your fathers did not fear. Verse 18, of the rock who begot you, you are unmindful and have forgotten the God who fathered you. So now you're sacrificing, you're paying homage to all these other gods, as I said before, and then you are forgetting God altogether. So the first offense is you leave. The second offense is you provoke God. And this is Israel. The third offense is that you're going to sacrifice to other gods. The fourth offense is that you're going to forget God. And then when the Lord saw it, he spurned them because of his provocation of his sons and his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. Strike one, Israel will leave. Strike two, Israel will provoke. Strike three, Israel will sacrifice to other gods. Strike four, they will forget about God, so much so that now okay, you've forgotten me? I will remove access. I will remove myself from you. I will hide my face from them. I will see that their end will be, for they are a perverse generation. It is the hardest thing for a parent to say that their child is a lost cause. It's very hard to do. I see these things all the time. As a police officer in California, I go to many different calls where there are parents, whether it's teenagers to parents, whether it's young adults to their parents, whether it's middle-aged adults to their parents who still live at home, whether it's elderly adults who are living with their elderly parents. I see that the parents spent a lifetime of giving them chance after chance after chance, that it wasn't just, and this is the first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, 4 things leading to the Lord. So 4 strikes and the Lord said, I am removing myself. I will hide my face from you because you are a perverse generation. For other parents nowadays, it takes 40 strikes. It takes the kids almost killing the parents, that doctors and the parents' bodies have to defeat them. The signs in their bodies, the symptoms in their bodies have to fail for the parents to realize that if I don't remove you from my house, you rebellious, wicked child, that you are going to kill me. You are literally killing me. With all of your actions, and my reaction to your actions is killing me. I have symptoms of pain. Blood pressure runs high. I'm having panic attacks. I'm in fear of my life that my kid is trying to kill me. But I will not remove them or separate myself from them or distance myself from them. I will not hide my face from them. But the Lord, after 4 strikes, and these are 4 big strikes. These aren't like baseball strikes where it's like, oh, tip, foul ball. These are legit strikes. These are big swings and big misses. These are big trespasses, huge iniquities, sins against God. To sacrifice to other gods, to actually forget about God altogether, meaning you're not even teaching your kids about the God that created you and saved you and got you to the point of where you are. You don't acknowledge that he gave you any success at all.